Hello, Adam. Thank you for taking the time to show me your video games.
No problem. I understand you're doing some work in virtual reality and virtual worlds.
Virtual worlds, yeah. I wanted to know a little bit more about gaming. It's something I know I have very little experience of. I see you have some... I can see some different games up on the screen.
Yeah. This is the Xbox One system, and I have a few different systems, but this one is the one we have on right now, so we'll take a look at it. Yeah, there's a lot of different games. Like for example, if I go over my games, I can take a look at here, and these are all the games that I have on my system. Destiny is a pretty popular one, and it's you control your custom-made avatar in that as well. So it's interesting.
What type of games do you like to play?
Well, there's a lot of different kinds, and I like a lot of different kinds. I'm a really big fan of horror, so I love horror games, but unfortunately they don't make as many horror games as they do other genres. So another genre I really like is RPG. What we call RPG, and what that stands for is role-playing game. So that is a game that's very, very story-based. It's very, it's very, what's the term I'm looking for? I don't know, intimate in a sense with the player. Like, you really get immersive. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it really is, though. Like, you really get into the stories. And like for example, this one here, Dragon Age Inquisition, the new Dragon Age game. They're games that are very immersive, and you can really take a lot of time to play them and get through the storylines. Skyrim is another one like that. Any of the Final Fantasies.
When you say immersive and really immersive, what do you mean?
It's just that the games are very, very deep in terms of storytelling, and they require a lot of time to play. Like for example, let's look at another game right quick, like something like this, like Transformers: Rise of the Dark Spark. It's a movie tie-in game, right? So people are buying it because they like Transformers, and that's the only reason they're buying it. It's the only reason I bought it. They're really not well-made games. They're not in-depth. They're not long. You just want to see Optimus Prime, and that's why you buy it. You might be able to play this game, and you might be able to finish the game, start to finish, in 8 hours. As to where something like... Oh, I went too far. That's where something like Dragon Age, you're probably going to spend 50 plus hours before you finish the game. Like, so it's immersive in that sense. You get in there, you spend so much time playing it that you really, the characters in the game, the NPCs. That's what you call non-playable characters. So those are computer-generated players and characters. And they're the people in towns. Like, say I go to a village. There's a blacksmith that I can talk to, maybe even get missions from, maybe help out of a jam,
I see.
As the Three Stooges would say,
Okay, so the immersion that you're talking about, it's the realness. Mm-hmm. You're saying that you're able to meet someone and have a conversation with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a preset limit on what, like for example, non-playable characters, NPCs, will say. I mean, obviously they're not going to out of the blue say, hey, how about the weather? It's kind of nice out today, and then I look out and it's actually nice. Like, that's not going to happen. But they do have a lot of options. Like for example, I might go talk to the same guy 10 times, and he might have 10 different things to talk about. As to where in a game like Transformers, he's just a pixel graphic standing there. They don't interact at all. And so I mean, I might be able to he'll tell me, just in conversation with these characters, they'll tell you things that actually advance the story. They give you more background on the story, more information about the fantasy world the game is set in. more information about the the evil monarch or whatever's going on in the game. So it's kind of interesting that way, and it really adds more to the story. So you actually benefit more from talking to these people because you really do get the full depth of the story, right?
And so when you say have a conversation, do you mean, is it text-based conversation?
Yes.
Or is it...
text and voice. It all depends on the developer, like whatever the guy making, the company making the game chooses. You can either have just text coming up, and then you might have a preset list of maybe 3 options I can reply with. Like he might say, hey, do you need any help? And you might have 3 options. Sure, that'd be great. I don't know. Go to hell. So then your choice will determine his reaction and where the conversation goes from there. So obviously if you tell him to go to hell, he might not be very happy, right? And they might say, get out of my shop, and that's the end of it,
I see. So you can't actually write in whatever you want. It has to be, you select.
There is presets. Generally, I'm sure there's maybe some computer-based games where you can probably type in anything you want, but the technology is not fully there yet. Like it'd be something like Siri, like on an Apple phone, where it's like, I can say, hey Siri, what's playing at the theater down the street from me? They can use location settings, find out what's playing, tell me what time. But if I say, Siri, how do you feel right now, and what are your views on global warming? She might be like, I'm not very well versed in that field, Adam, and then, because she's not programmed to respond to that. So I think that's what happens with a lot of games. They're not, the technology to just enter free thought isn't there yet. So it's still based on what we tell it to say. So, usually it's just there enough to enhance a story at this point. But things are changing, and that's kind of crazy. Like it's getting to an era where, any day now they're going to come out with something that's going to, blow everything up. Exactly.
Yeah.
There is a game coming out called No Man's Land that's claiming to do that, and it's pretty impressive. And I'm skeptical, but if it does what they claim it can do, it's going to be pretty cool. It's basically like an ever-growing universe. Like you're in a spaceship, you fly planet to planet, and what they did supposedly, I have no idea if it works like they claim. This is not out yet, but they basically sown the seeds of this universe, and they're letting the game grow itself as nature naturally would, in a sense. Like with us, we have the building blocks of life. We're carbon-based. We have oxygen. We have hydrogen. We have water. We have the things that you need to develop us, in the universe, in the world. Supposedly, they're doing this within a game, and it's just going to keep growing. And like planets are supposed to be just forming on their own over time, and you can travel. If it works like they say, I have no idea, but so it's there. Does
it mean that the individuals that participate will have the ability to customize? Do you mean that the participants will actually be making the planets, making things?
Not the planets at all. Like you can create yourself, you can customize yourself, but this is the thing. Like the company behind the game, called No Man's Land, the company behind it has said it's just so weird. Like they've said, like there's no enemies to go shoot. So in a sense, to me that's a hint that the enemies are going to be the other players like you. So if you, it'll be an internet-based game, right, like online. So if I come across other online players, it's kind of like up to us. Are we just going to smile and nod like you would any stranger on the street, or is he going to try to shoot me from behind, steal my loot, whatever I got on me, who knows? So it sounds like that's what they're doing, though. Like there's no actual point other than a virtual universe, in a sense. And but the planets, again, like they're supposed to be all computer driven, like when they're created, from what the developers set in the foundation of the game. So it's really, really unique if it works like they say it's gonna. It's really kind of the next step, in gaming, if it does what they say it's gonna do.
Okay, so the game is not a shoot 'em up as we would expect, but it's more about construction,
right?
Social construction.
Social construction, exactly. Like, to me, it kind of sounds like, in games, I find you almost have to have the rules of a game. Like, you have to have bad guys to shoot at. You have to have a goal to achieve. You have to have obstacles between you and that goal. Because if you don't, I mean, I may be wrong, but like, I can see this game, when it comes out, as being a game. I would love to go explore this crazy computer, birthed world. But in my head, I can only see it as being total anarchy because there's no rules. If that makes any sense. Yeah. Like, I can see me saying, okay, I'm going to get in my spaceship. I'm going to fly to this new planet that some other guy told me about that I don't even know if it's there. And I can see me getting killed non-stop on my way there because there's no set rules to follow.
I see.
If that makes any sense. And I can see that taking the fun out of it. Because all I want to do is see this new world and explore it, but I'm getting shot at by everybody under the sun because there's no natural people to shoot at in the game, and rules in a sense. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
Okay, so so what attracts you is something, as you were saying, that's something that's already set up. It's a lot of obstacles, difficulty, and the longer it goes on, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the longer is definitely the better, because I mean, games aren't cheap anymore, and this is something I always find funny when you think of the big entertainment mediums industry. I mean, automatically you think Hollywood, you think film. If you take the biggest money-making film of all time, off the top of my head, I don't know what that is. I'd say either Titanic or Avatar. Like one of those more than likely, because it kind of changed somewhere in the last 10 years, I think. But anyway, if you take that and the money it made, like almost any other like big budget game matches that, if not doubles it. And that's crazy. That's a staggering amount of money if you think about it, right? So it's like, why is that not more known? Like, nobody seems to realize that. Like, I mean, even an okay big hit game makes more than the biggest film ever. And but because of that, they're expensive to make too, right? So all in all, a game costs anywhere between $60 to $80, and then more than that if it's a special edition with extra download perks and stuff. So you could easily pay up to $100. So anyway, yeah, I want a game like Dragon Age that's going to take me 50 plus hours to make my money's worth, as opposed to a game like the Transformers one that I can play for one day and I'm finished with it. If that makes any sense. Like, I guess that's a consumer's point of view, I guess, there, but
yeah. I want to look in to see how many people are gaming. That's a number I don't know. I don't know if you know. How many people are playing online games?
I can tell you a perfect example right now. I actually read this earlier today. This is funny that you say that. This is for Destiny, this game right here. This is Destiny is the new game by Bungie. It's not near as good as I expected it. They are also the makers of Halo, and I'm a big fan of the Halo games. But anyway, all that being said, it's still a good game, and it's a very popular game, so I will definitely read you this. It was just like a email update from Bungie that we got today, like anybody who plays it